Good morning to all of the chocobos, mules, and tonberries out there. My name is Ravlin, and I will be bringing you a entrance randomized run of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. Worlds Collide is an open-world randomizer for Final Fantasy VI, where I am going to start with 3 characters. In order to enter Kefka's Tower, I need to get 7 characters, 10 espers, and defeat 3 dragons. Or I can skip to later in the Kefka's Tower if I get 8 characters, 12 espers, and 4 dragons. This is an open world game. I have the airship to begin with, and I will be switching back and forth between the World of Ruin and the World of Balance at my leisure. The main gimmicks to this particular run are all of the entrances on the overworld are randomized, so if I try to walk into Narsh, it almost certainly will be anything but Narsh. So while I'm focusing on this, I am joined by Vamp and It's Naku, who are going to be doing the majority of the commentary for this run so that I can focus on the craziness I am about to endure. If you guys would like to introduce yourself.
You go ahead, Vamp.
Okay, hello. I am Vampstar87, and we're about to go ahead and get started on this Final Fantasy randomizer. Go ahead, Naku.
I am Naku. I've been a runner since the start of this year. The community is great, and I'm really excited to be here.
All right.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
Fantastic. So I'm going to give us a countdown from 3, and then we are going to get started, and I am handing it over to you guys. Make sure to introduce the community and, shill the website a little bit. All right, we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Right. A Cella start.
Celeste, Terra, and Setzer, always nice to see. Celeste and Terra are 2 of the strongest characters in the game. Possess is also a very useful ability. I can imagine Ravlin using that to get through Final Kefka. And X Magic is an ability that exists.
So
first, go ahead.
I did say that the entrances were randomized. There are a couple that cannot be randomized due to game coding limitations, and this is one of them.
And because of that, it would make perfect sense that Ravlin goes here. This is one of the most treasure-heavy spots in the game. Very good for a start.
Absolutely. You can definitely check a lot of items in this location without having to worry about any enemy encounters due to the Moogle charms.
And then just to demonstrate why NPC remove, if I stand in front of this NPC and hit Y, he will disappear, which isn't going to cause any shenanigans at all.
Best flag ever, because the true final boss of Final Fantasy VI are the NPCs. I'm pretty sure Kefka went around handing them all $5 bills, asking them to be annoying so we couldn't get to them.
Looks like Ravlin's going to say that one chest is just too long to get. And that's okay.
I used to grab it when I first started running, and then it just has never been worth the time. So far, nothing super stellar that I've seen. Some Genji armor. And a rod, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
So for early game, we'll be looking for loot Mostly we'll be looking for breakable items, which are rods and shields. They can help you get through very sticky situations early on. We'll also want some healing in certain weapons. A Valiant Knife, an Illumina, Ragnarok, something to really give you damage to get through.
An Excalibur.
An Excalibur, Illumina Light, as it were.
Excalibur and a ribbon. That ribbon is going to be very nice.
Yes. Ribbons, they can be particularly useful late game. I typically see people switching them out for more damage-heavy relics, such as earrings. But I personally prefer having a ribbon on. Late game, especially in the last boss, there's an ability called Trine, and it can shut down some strategies you have. We have Crusader from the Sealed Cave.
Now, hopefully, Crusader actually has some good spells on it. Otherwise, we probably won't be casting Crusader anytime soon.
Well, this is a Ravlin seed. Not gonna check the Esper now, which is fine. Typically, I do spend a lot of times in menus. That costs me a lot. So it's interesting to see how somebody more experienced than you does it. Stop is okay, situationally useful. You can use it on a couple of bosses to shut down the fight. But magic power +1, that's a good stat to have. That was Duncan's Shack, which means that if we find a Blitz user and get to level 42, you can get Bum Rush there. And we've got a Miranda. And that's I was just speaking of the Valiant Knife. That's an interesting weapon. I don't recall if it ignores defense, but it does have a special property where every hit point that you're missing goes toward the damage total. It gets very easily, you can do max damage with it. Rename cards, always important to have. A staple in every seed. Snipers are another interesting weapon. You can see Ravlin hovering over it for a second. That has a 50% chance to proc extra damage, and if they're floating, the extra damage jumps to 3 times instead of 1.5 times. It's a very useful weapon, especially because there's a lot of late game bosses that fly. And we have a Mobliz here, which is another check. Cool little part here is you can talk to the little girl and she'll ask you if you're going to take away what is here. And that's a lock, which is something I can see Ravlin wanting to grab. Locke is one of the better characters to have.
Well, and I would definitely want to grab that lock. Specifically because of the ribbon also.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that you have a Valiant Knife with original equipment, Locke is guaranteed to be able to use it.
But yeah, I'd use that ribbon to cleanse the curse shield you get in World of Ruin Narsh.
What I didn't double check the flags for what the fight is on Curse Shield. The Curse Shield is another thing that's randomized in this game. You can have anywhere from 1 fight to the full 256. Typically, we have it set to between 1 fight and 32 fights.
I believe that is what I left it at. I don't 100% remember, and let's see how badly this fight goes.
Oh boy, it's a Doomgaze. Not an enemy you want to see early on. There is always Possess, which Ravlin is going to attempt to use, and it failed. So Possess is a good ability that'll instantly kill any boss in the game and send your character back to the airship. The trade-off is that character does not get the experience for it. But he does get Lock and has to fight the second section, which is Hiding in the Hide Nights, the best 70s doo-wop band around. This one will actually be a struggle, because I do believe Undead Bosses flag is on, which means that you were unable to use like Revivifies or Phoenix Downs on the bosses.
This is probably going to end poorly, but I'm going to try.
For a lock, I don't actually blame you.
Ooh, that might. Had some useful zombies in my day. That might be a good thing.
Jeez. Zombie is similar to a Berserk status where you are no longer able to control the character, but they will hit allies as well as enemies. Though sometimes they can target only enemies, and I have had a zombie win a fight for me before.
Oh,
Ha!
Blade, that's a desperation attack, and it takes it.
The clutch desperation. Very well done.
That was really cool.
I didn't expect that to work.
For those that don't know, desperation attacks are similar to a limit break, where if you're in critical status when you fight, and I believe it only triggers on fight, it has a chance to do a super-powered attack. And believe it or not, there are some situations where you don't want that to happen.
That's 13 levels on Terra.
Terra is already going to be the carry. This is Fanatic's Tower, which is not a fun check. A lot of people don't like it at all. I personally think that if the magic is strong, it's a good place to go. There's a decent amount of treasure there. There's a guaranteed high tier loot at the top and a dragon on the way.
Yeah, I actually especially like going to Fanatic's Tower if you have someone who can cast Berserk.
Berserk makes it very easy to get through. It can essentially trivialize it in the base game. That and using the Yeti.
Oh, I always use the Yeti.
There's dozens of us. Well, maybe not dozens. So, World of Ruins then, we saw the shady guy in the forest. We don't know what he's selling because he only tells you if it's an Esper or not in the World of Balance. But for 54,000, that's not something I would take without knowing if the World of Balance is cheaper. The two prices are randomized based on what world you are. And here we have World of Ruin Narsh, which is something I'm sure Ravlin is extremely happy to see.
Why on earth would I be happy to see this? It's the beginning town of the game.
So
Go ahead, Vam.
I was gonna actually say, when you actually remove these NPCs and then you save, are they still removed?
No, they YNPC remove as soon as you exit the area. They respawn.
I do believe that's a safeguard for some soft locks. You can actually remove some NPCs that you have to interact with in order for progress in areas.
Uh,
There are also doors you can Y remove, and that will soft lock you no matter what. Certain ones.
certain doors absolutely will, but these doors won't. And you can YNPC remove the healing bucket.
I did not know you could do the bucket.
That is pretty funny. Can you why remove the uh the guards in the Battle of Narsh?
Yes. My sister had done it before, I do believe.
So it's just a well-timed cancel fight.
You don't get any experience from it, as far as I'm aware. That's a 22 fight shield. That is not something I would break. If it was Brianna here, she would probably try to break it.
I probably would try to break it depending on how the enemy healing abilities were set to.
It is early enough seed where 22 fight shield is feasible. It's just not something I'd be willing to put the downgraded stats on a character for at this point in time.
3 ribbons are pretty nice though. Man.
You've never seen it work for the sprite encounters? I might be thinking of another thing, like maybe the soldiers in Imperial Camp or Sealed Cave. It's something that I don't toy around with personally. My practice seeds, I never use YMPC. It's very rare for it to happen in races, so I've got little reason to do it. It does look like Ravlin is trying to go for the Uncursed, though. Yeah, that I did try to YMPC these statues before, and unfortunately the encounter triggers before you can do anything. You can YMPC the fight in Zozo on the way up, the vanilla Dataluma spot.
That
And
is
yes.
a creepy island.
And as Frashin says in chat, you can YMPC remove the Kefka from Imperial Camp. Speaking of Zozo, here we have World of Ruin Mount Zozo. Or this could be World of Balance, because you can YMPC the door into Mount Zozo on either vanilla vanilla. Either World of Balance or World of Ruin. Yes, this is Naku. It's like most people don't hear my voice outside of post-race interviews, but I am aware you're Franklin, but I called you Frasian because that's your name in chat.
So typically this is a check that would be gated behind Cyan, who I do not have, but because I was able to remove the rusty door with my YNPC, I get to break the logic of the randomizer a little bit and check this check, including a possible dragon spot.
Dragons are scaled on these flags, I do believe, since they're mixed in. But it doesn't matter because this one is an Ifrit fight, which Ravlin could trivialize using that ice shield if he had wanted to. But this could be a doable fight regardless.
It's definitely doable. But he wants to keep hold of that ice shield so he can learn ice too. Easier.
There are some situations where I would throw his shield out early. If I was to run into a statue, for instance, or, doom gaze and not have possess, I would definitely bust a shield to try and get through that. I'm in a mindset where I would rather save the time than throw myself at a fight for sometimes 10 minutes. And it does look like Ravlin is gearing up to do a transition run. And he did get it, but only with one character. So, running in this game, let me throw my brain at the mechanics and see if I can recall how it works. There's a meter that you can fill up, and in the transition between Ifrit to Shiva, there's no entities on the screen, so technically you're able to run away from that. That's how that glitch works. So if you start building up the meter and hit the run trigger as they're switching, you can get out of there. And as Franklin in chat says, all you need is one character to survive. If one person runs and you wipe in that fight, you still live. So that's a nice little way to get out of that fight. You do trade experience for it, but at this point in the game, there's still grinding options that Rav can do. It's not a big issue. And we do have a Shadow sending love letters. With a 56 Vigor and Sword Tech, that Shadow is quite useful, I'd say. Taking Shadow over Sword Tech over Lore. Sword Tech is one of my favorite abilities. And yes, this is absolutely a broken logic seed due to YMPC. That is a World of Ruin calling in here. And there is Cyan on the table. Speaking of, that's a health Cyan. 34 magic power is pretty middle of the road, which health is an ability that's a free cure too. Kind of great to see early seed. However, right now we're set up with a decent party that will want to level up and get us through the rest of the seed. But Cyan does unlock something, the Cyan Nightmare sequence. So if we find Doma Castle, we can unlock Sword Tech, which is probably the best use for it.
So none of the entrances are crossed between the light and the dark world, are they?
No, they are not.
And Ravlin skipping the item in the clock in Rachel's house. Not something a lot of people go for. My sister and I typically do early seed. And here is our Chocobo stable. In World of Ruin, they are in the randomizer pool, but I do believe they're taken out in World of Balance because Barren Falls and Returner can have nasty side effects to it. Yeah, Franklin would be the person to ask specifically about how the entrance randomizer works. I've ran a couple of seeds from it so that I knew a little bit more about what I was talking about today, but I do not have a lot of experience with it. And here we have Thamza, which is a decent town. It's got some barrels and a couple of shops that are worth checking out. Also, if you have Strago, you can initiate Burning House from here. In Worlds Collide, you can initiate that event from both World of Darkness and World of Balance.
I'm really hoping for like any sort of better treasures. Just anything at all.
So far, it has been pretty dry. Some Genji armor, an Aegis shield, and a elemental shield has been nice, but you're going to need a whole lot more than one decently geared character to get you through the game. That is World of Ruin Gao's Manor, which is essentially worthless. And looks like we're going to check and see what's here at South Fugaro. And that's Jador. If we find Murder Child, that will be a check later on. And there is also the potential for the auction house here, which could be up to 2 Aspers.
Who is Murder Child, and why on earth would we call a character Murder Child?
Murder Child is Realm, and we call her Murder Child because she has the highest base magic stat in the game and can nuke basically anything. Hero rings are a very good find. They're essentially earrings that also increase melee damage. If you find an Illumina, for instance, you will want to have a hero ring on that character.
I can tell you're just love deleting those townspeople right now.
They shouldn't get in my way. I'm literally trying to save the world, and they are getting in my way. It's their own fault.
Some of them weren't even in your way.
It's because they took the payoff by Kefka. That is Doma Castle, so that will let us do the Science Nightmare sequence, and that will unlock max sword tech, and there will be 3 checks here. Up to 2 Espers and a potential character. Or up to 3 Espers, rather, because the character spot could be an Esper as well.
That is a pretty neat Esper right there.
Life 2. Osmos is okay, but typically you'll want to be throwing out ethers if you can. And this is the track screen. It lets you keep track of your progress, which right now we're sitting at 6 characters and 2 Espers. I have 7 characters needed and 10 Espers needed to get into the tower.
Cure ring's not too bad.
It has its uses.
I should probably put my Moogle Charm back on.
Well, you did find the money fight, so it's not a huge loss. This fight in particular is pretty decent XP, but a good amount of money. It's well worth taking.
If I can kill them.
Yes, if your damage is there. And there's a jump. At these levels, that's likely going to be an instant kill. And we'll see when the first frog comes down just how much of a warp stone we're going to want to prepare for. Okay, that was not an instant kill, but that lot couldn't tank 2 of them. Slowly but surely working his way through the fight.
Not a fight that I intended to take, but I'm certainly not going to kick it out of bed for eating chips.
This will definitely give you an edge for the next boss.
Yeah. This will likely put you where you need to be. And there is a save point, so you could also tent or sleeping bag.
That would involve me
guess.
having either one of those things.
Franklin is asking, is the retort bug fix flag off?
I do believe so. That is a glitch that we call Psycho Cyan. You can cast retort and kill Cyan and turn him into an imp, and he'll essentially counter himself over and over again until everything dies. Or rather, the sword tech user in this case, which would be Shadow.
It is a strategy I am rather well known for employing. I may be the person who learned that it takes 28 minutes for a level 3 sword tech user with a Pearl Rod to kill Final Kefka.
That sounds hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
I believe I got up and left at one point.
Yeah, that's one of those fights where you just set it and forget it.
Oh, ow. That was not kind.
That is a deadlock and a dead Shadow. Number 128, Inferno's little brother, definitely bringing the pain. Ooh, that's a dead Terra. That was a percentile attack on Celeste, so we weren't too worried about that. Oof. More hard hits. If the dispatch will target the middle, we could probably get through this. It's just a matter of keeping your people up.
Yeah, but Shadow's just getting bombarded at this point.
Yeah, number 128 definitely doesn't like that ninja. I did not know that retort would trigger on an interceptor hit, and that was a lot of damage for it. So the fight is being mean to Ravlin because of a flag that we have called Normalize Distort. What that does is it makes the stats, I do believe, a base level higher based on your scaling, and then it distorts a single stack to ridiculous proportions, such as hit points or vigor or something of the like. Which I wouldn't be surprised if the hit points of 128 is distorted now, because this fight does seem to be going a good bit longer than what I would expect.
I mean, also just based on my progression, it's a fairly high-level enemy.
I forgot what the progression is set at.
×2.
Okay, that's very standard. Which means that everything would be level 16 at the moment, or thereabouts. because he has 6 characters and 2 espers. That's a progression level of 8. To explain that.
Ravlin hanging in there.
Yeah, good fractional attack on Terra. It's nice to not be one shot while you're queuing up a Phoenix down. And I do know that I enunciated that very incorrectly. It's something my sister and I did when we were children because of how it's spelt in the game.
Well, that's gonna be a wipe.
Yeah. Big oof. Yeah, some bosses can be mean, especially early seeds. With normalized Distort on, it can be pretty rough at times. There was a save in the Nightmare sequence. We'll see if Ravlin wants to try again.
Yeah, why not? Let's see if we can improve our damage a little bit. That might help. And
Organics is pretty good to have on Shadow since we'll be sword teching mostly. The break percent will not proc on a sword tech. But I do believe you lose the crit as well.
Okay, I have a Moogle Charm on. I don't need more Reach Frogs.
This would be a decent place to take a grind. However, with the lack of like group healing items, it's not something we would want to do. And
You don't want to run out while you're in this place.
round 2 with Inferno Light. There is the possibility of using Possess. However, there is another boss after this, and preferably we would want experience on Celeste. So hopefully it'll be nice and use more percentile attacks, which cannot kill you unless I do believe it can kill you if you have 1 hit point left. And that is a floor tanking lock. His knockout sprite I've always considered super cute. It's like he's giving the ground a hug.
Rough.
And that is a dead damage dealer. That is another dead damage dealer.
Good thing you bought so many Phoenix down.
There might have been a reason for this.
Yeah, it's a very good idea to stock up on those. So the Punisher, while being a decent weapon in its own right, you also need MP in order for its special property to come up, which is a guaranteed crit on hit. Not typically something we see people use unless they have no other option, such as this point. And we do get through the fight.
Very good.
And now there is some damaging spells around, which will help, and that is a Genji glove. Dead check, though, if there's a relic you would get from it, I would not mind seeing a Genji glove. Hopefully an offering can come with it eventually.
Do you want to know what the most important drop of that was? The tent.
The tent.
I can heal
Indeed.
before the next fight.
Yeah, but you're also gonna have ice too for the next fight. Be nice.
Ravlin taking a route through this that you don't often see. Most people skip the first cart, myself included. But there is a couple of treasures in there if you wanted to take the time to grab them. And Franklin does give a good point in chat that Shadow would be safer in the back row using sword tech, because I do believe it ignores row. That's a Thunder Shield. Very useful, very exciting to see. And that's an elixir, which can be useful either as a save me button or as guilt.
Yeah, as opposed to a normal run of a Worlds Collide seed, I am just taking the checks that are in front of me because I don't know where they are. And in 15 minutes, I'm going to forget where Doma Castle was. So it doesn't do me much good to go, hey, I'll remember this and come back, because I won't.
Typically, I'm a tracker, but when I do track, I have the luxury of writing everything down so it's easier to remember. So there's a very high chance that I will forget as well. In fact, I don't recall where Doma is already. Zozo, right? World of Ruin Zozo?
Maybe.
18 plus towns. Yeah, and not to mention the different dungeons and caves that are around. And that is a Blossom-wielding ninja. Blossom being situationally useful in its own right, it does have an instant death attack attached to it, which can come in handy if it procs. It's not as good as, say, the Scimitar that has a cleave attack, which can actually... I do believe the cleave proc on a Scimitar can affect undead as well. Very useful weapon, depending on the case. And here we have a Sasquatch.
You mean we have a boss that can't be impacted by ice magic? Of course we do.
If there's any poison, I find it pretty useful on Umaru, especially if he goes into the green cherry phase. It'll actually increase the damage that poison does to him. And another interesting tidbit about the Umaru fight, when you fight him, he's weak against fire. But after you get him, he has a snow muffler on, which halves fire damage.
I love games being internally consistent and following their own rules.
It's certainly interesting. Here's green cherry phase. Like 100 times up, I would say, is an exaggeration, I'm sure. I'm not going to pretend to know what that does to Umaru other than just an overall stat boost. And it gives him the ability to one-shot anybody in the party via jumping. But that does signify that he is around half health, I want to say. And Terra being Phoenix down, as Franklin said in chat, does prime her for Valiant Knife usage. which will increase her damage by quite a lot. And that is a dead Umaru. Unfortunately, Locke will not get the experience, but still a good thing to get through that fight. And we have an Esper, Odin. The summon itself can be pretty useful if you get into an instant death bowl thing, but the real prize from the Science Dream sequence is a max sword tech. That will allow you to use sword tech 7 and 8, 7 being Quadra Slash but ignoring defense, and 8 being a cleave, which is essentially what Odin does, but I do believe with a higher hit rate. And that was a quick on Bahamut. Quite a useful spell in its own right. It is it is slow at times, but it is also a nice bit of safety, and you can really destroy entire encounters just by quick timing and getting 2 turns.
We're going to be dropping down into Jador, and it's Nakia.
Not a town that most people go to, though there is a lot of shops here. There could be useful stuff. Like if we ever find a thrower, that would be an excellent place to go and get some throwables. Especially the ninja stars. Well, not especially, because the skeins, they do magic damage. They are split damage unless there's only one enemy left. But they're essentially a bunch of rods in my mind. Throw is a very useful ability, one of my favorites. I'd put it in my top 3.
But chances are pretty high Throw is ability not appearing in this seed. Just because that's how my luck tends to go. Oh, it's just the Opera House. I don't want to be here.
Is this even randomized?
Oh, you don't want to check the dragon just yet?
I'm really not prepared for another random boss fight that's not going to progress me. Oh, okay.
This is something we can do since we have Shadow. This is Cave on the Veldt. You can actually see what the reward is through here, and there's also decent treasures. And a monster in a box. Which I'm unsure if Ravlin plans on taking.
Well, he did pick up a wall ring earlier in the seed. That might be good against a Katana Soul.
That is a good point.
Telstar.
Very useless fight. It gives a green beret. Not something people go out of their way for. And apparently not instant deathable. I have never tried, so I did not know.
Hey, don't diss the Green Beret. It's one of like 3 hats that have any use in this game at all.
It is somewhat useful if you don't have a red cap. You can throw it on a Valiant Knife user. It does increase hit point total. It's still not something I go out of my way for. But Ravlin does make a good point. Hats are not good in this game. There's like 3 useful hats, and that's it. Giving a little bit of a hit point boost to Shadow there.
we're no longer level 3, where we have like 80 hit points, but we're still lower in health than I would like to be. Oh.
I wonder which Fumbaba this is, but honestly, I would not want to see either one of them at this point. So, one Fumbaba, which would be the first one you encounter in Miranda, will just blow your party away. You get no experience, no rewards. You fought a hit point sponge for essentially nothing. The other Fumbaba, which this is Fumbaba 1, it does appear. Yeah. So that wasn't that bad of a fight. Did get Phantom of it, which is a potential calmness protection. By Interceptor, need to get that tonic.
He just deleted the dog.
I did, and I'd do it again too, even though he is the bestest boy.
Pro Rod of that missed barrel. I'm glad you had the opportunity to come back for it. Those are very useful. Rods in this game, I do believe they roll max damage, and do they ignore magic defense, or they count as an automatic crit? It's one of the two.
They ignore magic defense.
Yeah. Rods are very useful. Any seed that I play where I can get rods, I go hunting for them first off.
There's been a lot of skeins in this particular seed. Hopefully Throw is going to be found.
It's hammering the point home that Throw is not showing up in the seed, since there's even tax stars. Everything you could ever want to throw at an enemy, we have easy access to, and often access to, which means that we're never going to see that ability.
Hero ring.
Very nice pickup. So, the two standouts in there is the earrings, and I would even say the Rage Ring. Rage Ring not only being useful on the Yeti, also does it negate or let you absorb fire damage? It's one of them. I don't use it too often because typically I have enough elemental protection. I don't need to use it for that. But one of my favorite spells in the game, Murton, you can use a rage ring to establish fiery dominance, as it were. And here we learn that you can Y remove a fire.
Yep.
Absorbs fire, nullifies bolt. Thank you, Franklin. Here we have the Coliseum.
Can you remove Ultros while he's patrolling right there?
Give me a minute, but yes.
This is incredible. The Coliseum, not exactly something you can find easily in an entrance randomizer. In fact, the two seeds I've played, I didn't find it at all. But we have all 255 items visible, so we know what to expect. And warp stones for Valiant Knives against a Delta Bug is extremely doable.
I just forgot that I didn't have Terra anymore. She's sit back in the airship.
I did also see a Scimitar, which I brought up earlier. However, if you're using a Scimitar late game, that's actually a sign of like things not going well. So probably not going to go out of the way to pick that up.
Yes, making Coliseum rewards visible before you bet the item is a significant quality of life improvement that we have made in Worlds Collide. One of my favorites. and I would like it if Shadow did literally anything useful. That is mildly useful.
It's better than a regular attack, but could have used Quadra Slice. And now you can't lose a fight. Megavolt, have MP. So that's a free Valiant Knife there.
Yeah, so we're gonna save. and for you, Vamp. Yoink.
That's awesome.
That's what he gets for hounding you all throughout the World of Balance.
We haven't checked the search disguise yet either, have we?
No.
You're probably maybe a few more levels.
Oh, wait, no. Check the shop and heal. Oh my god. Out of my way!
Why NPC Cyan? I don't know if you can. I've never tried on party members.
I just did.
Tent and smoke bombs. Very good to find. Tents, they're good. They're slower than sleeping bags, and now we have no more Setzer Cyan. Smoke bombs, however, are, I believe, a faster animation than warp stones, which is why they're popular to use to escape fights. And warp stones also have the auxiliary use of getting you out of dungeons.
I don't think I need anything here.
World of Balance calling in. The only thing that you would be able to see is what shops have. The shops are different between World of Balance and World of Ruin, for those that do not know.
Oh, hold on. There is a single chest in here.
Some people use it. I've actually seen people during a race use this place for a free heal. You can sleep in the beds.
It smells like Sabin though.
And let's see what's in World of Balance, Zozo. Is this Mount Colts? No, this is Barren Falls.
Oh, right. I don't have Sabin. We were just talking about him.
Yep. That is character gated behind Sabin. So if we ever find him, we'll struggle to remember where Barren Falls is.
Although I'm kind of concerned because I don't see any water nearby.
The waterfall takes you all the way to the ocean. It's magic, and best not to question it. Dragon boots are a good find. Another Genji glove. With warp stones to Valiant Knives, I can see Genji gloves being extremely useful.
And we can buy.
Blizzard Orb is another fun one. It's decent on the Yeti. I don't like Blizzard Orb all that much, but it also nullifies ice damage and maybe wind.
Yeah, I normally don't use the Blizzard Orb because I'd rather Umaro tackle.
The tackle and the throwing, those are the two things I go for.
I think you are missing what the tackle is actually called. It's called the tummy touch.
Oh dear.
And enemies are always terrified if they get tummy touched by the Yeti.
He just wanted a really big hug, violently. And down here, this being South Figaro, we can check Celeste's cell. It's another one of the free checks. And that's an Edgar. Another good use. A Blitz Edgar. That's something I would like to see, but I would have liked to seen it probably earlier. We'll see what Ravlin plans to do. That is also the choice I would make. I'd much rather have Blitz over GP Rain, even though Locke is a very good character. And only Terra and Locke so far can use the Valiant Knife. So at least you have 2 of them and 3 Genji gloves.
Just Genji gloves
Ooh,
everywhere. Oh, there goes my Moogle charm again.
I like those barrage vests.
Can we admire that it is also Reach Frogs this time too? And here we see the power of Sword Tech 8. Extremely useful. It is a cleave attack, therefore it does work on undead enemies as well. Pearl is a decent spell there. Slow 2 has its uses, not very many uses, and Quarter you don't often see, especially in a seed where you have any instant death ball attacks, because any enemy, I do believe, any enemy that you can Quarter, you can also instant death. I would hope that somebody could correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I believe you are correct, but Quarter or Demi is a spell that I have never intentionally cast.
I've only done it a couple of times when there was an enemy that was instant deathable on Normalize and Distort. I'd have rather cast Quarter on them to get that huge chunk of damage out of the way to speed up the fight. But it's one of those do it once, and that's a Megalixir. Great safety to have, especially during the final fight. If you are struggling through phase 3, you can use it to prevent Meteo from wiping you. Also, there is Fallen One. You can use it to help you recover from that.
And just to track, we have our character requirement, we do not have our Esper requirement, and we have found 0 dragons. Dragons are just mixed into the boss pool, so they're out there somewhere. I hope.
The Dragon Hunt on an entrance randomizer, very much don't envy you. I know that it can be rough because there are a lot of places that are randomized and a lot of bosses that they could be at. Here we have World of Balance then. I brought this up earlier in the seed. The Shady Guy, it's not a Esper, but it is an economizer. Very situationally useful. So far, this seed has not been very magic heavy, so it's not something I would use, at least so far.
Which is a pity, because Terra's gained 17 magic power, and she's not going to use magic. She's going to be swinging those knives.
Mm-hmm. And with natural X magic, that's something I actually prefer. If I was to have a very magic heavy character, World of Balance Narsh, another good find. But if I was to have a magic heavy character, I would prefer them have natural X magic, because X magic forces you into 2 spellcasts, and sometimes you don't want to do that. Pugs. This is a monster in the box that I will always take, just because of the potential of Minervas. I believe they have a 1/8 chance to drop a Minerva, and you can also steal Minervas from them as well. So a single pug fight has the potential of 6 Minervas.
And they're not too bad to defeat either.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long, depending on your strength at the time. It's a good fight to take. This and Katana Souls are 2 monster in a boxes that I never skip.
I was hoping for Katana Soul.
With a Valiant Knife and Genji Glove, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's very uncommon to get all 3. Yes, Gigantos. Franklin brings up a good point in chat. Gigantos is another one I always take. Sometimes I'll push it off till later, if I want to like have a 4-stack party, but it is, I believe, the highest experience in the game. If not, it's the second highest. Well worth taking. Those pearls coming down. Pearl is one of those spells that is quite powerful, but has a long animation time. That and Flare. If I can avoid using them, I typically will. But if I have to use them, I will use a wait trick, which means that I will go into a menu on another character to wait for the animation to finish, because it stops progression of enemy ATB.
I didn't get a single Minerva.
That is unfortunate.
Welcome to my seeds. I never get the nice things.
The seed that Ravlin rolled last night also had mixed Fumbaba in, which we didn't see the entire seed until Kefka's Tower. And thankfully, they were the kind that doesn't blow you away.
I thought it was going to be hilarious.
That's because you weren't running it.
You are correct. I enjoy watching other people suffer.
It was a very fun seed overall, though. I very much enjoyed it, especially the natural Ultima on Celeste. It was fun. Speaking of, you should check out our official Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide channel eventually, which is literally just Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide on Twitch. And you can go to our website to start playing, which is ff6wc.com. It'll have a link to our Discord and our wiki there if you want to get playing and learn how to run yourself. Very helpful community. I very much feel at home with these people. They've been very polite and helped me learn, and now I would consider myself a good runner of my own right, due largely to the help I've received.
Yeah, everyone's very helpful, and you know, we can all come together, share ideas, and watch each other suffer. So it's a great time.
One of the things I'm particularly proud of for this community is how welcoming and how easy we've made it for new players to get up to speed. We have written guides, video guides, people who are willing to jump in and in a voice channel and chat with you as you're trying it out, you know, walk you through a seed. There are lots of options available for people who want to start up. You know, that is something we have worked very hard to ensure in our community, that not only are we welcoming and friendly, but we will also help you become better if you want to be better at the game. I mean, I will help you become a better person if you really want me to, but why are you going to some random dude on the internet for that?
To play devil's advocate, sometimes it's better to get an outside perspective. This is another interesting thing. A lot of people actually don't know about that in the casual scene on Worlds Collide. The weapon shop owner gives you two options. The option you do not take will be behind the wealth check there. Same thing with the Lone Star check. When the wolf jumps off the cliff, you can actually find him in World of Ruin Narsh, where you typically find the Moogle in vanilla game, and get the item off of him. Not very common, since a lot of the times the item he has is useless, but occasionally there's something worthwhile.
Yeah, typically if you're playing a more difficult seed and you see an item that you can't pass up, that's when you'd probably go get it.
I want to say in the 300 plus seeds I've ran, I think he had a useful item maybe a handful of times. You've seen a paladin shield on the Lone Wolf. The best I've seen was a Ragnarok.
Best I've seen was an elixir.
That is Ravlin luck. We have two ends of the luck spectrum in our community. There is Ravlin luck, which is typically very bad, and Zelfer luck, which is incredibly good. Larry, Curly, and Mo. This is an interesting fight. Not one that I'm fond of seeing ever, but the blue one is instant deathable. I believe the top one is mutable, and the front one is berserkable. I might be wrong on what the top one, what you can do with him, but you can easily shut down this fight. It's not too terribly bad. You can stop the front one. Yes. It was one of them. But this fight is easy to shut down if you have the abilities to do it. Unfortunately, we do not.
Delta hit.
Oh, the top one you can sleep. Yeah, see, my memory is not quite good. Thankfully, Franklin is here. Him and Cecil, I would consider probably the two most knowledgeable people I've discussed this game with.
Really?
You also want to take care of the top one, because the top one's going to revive the other two, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the top one will resurrect the bottom two if you don't finish them off.
Oh, rough.
And Franklin does bring a good point to chat. The top one is notably weak against ice. Their colors signify their element. Red for fire, blue for ice, and yellow for thunder.
Edgar just can't catch a break here.
I suppose he saw Locke giving the earth some warm hugs and wanted to get in on that. It's the game is very sentient. The only spell on Shiva there that I cared about was haste. But honestly, that is not a very good Esper. Ice 3 is always good, and Flare is useful. It's slow. I would honestly rather use tier 3 spells over Flare, but if I need non-elemental damage, Flare is a good go-to. Here we have World of Balance Gal Manor. Since we have Shadow, will be able to pick up the reward here, which is Carbuncle. Bolt 3 with a Vigor +1. Bolt 3 is a very good, very useful spell. Vigor +1, nah. Vigor, if you have no other options for like melee characters, Vigor is good. You might as well use it, but levels up your damage a whole lot more than Vigor ever will. Both entrances to Mount Colts. I do believe that Mount Colts is one of the ones that is problematic, so it's not in the randomizer pool. Or rather, it can. It's one of the ones that can soft lock you.
I don't care about Miranda.
Only thing I would check there is the armor and weapon shop, but honestly, at this point in the seed, there's no reason to do so.
This I know is Doma Castle, and it has something to do with the events that are coded here.
Let's see, I had wrote down some notes. Yeah, Doma World of Balance is considered an event in the code and not actually entrances.
So we have found Kefka. If I can defeat this Kefka before he escapes, we will be able to end the seed early. I've yet to see it happen, but I've heard it's possible, so we're going to give it a try.
What about Possess?
I don't actually know if Possess is going to work on this, and I want Celis to get the XP.
Possess works on any enemy. If it triggers, it will work. Same thing as Freeze. The Doom Dragon Rage uses... is it Doom? Yeah, Doom Dragon Rage uses North Cross, which will freeze an enemy. It's a low hit chance, but it works on any enemy in the game, including the final Kefka fights. It's a great way to shut things down, and one of the ways to defeat Kefka here.
I mean, it won't actually end the seed. That was just a joke, and
I know.
Just making sure the audience knows. But it's really because I want Celis to gain any XP. Here, please.
You should throw a smoke bomb out for him.
I do believe
run
you,
away.
I do believe you can cue a smoke bomb and then muddle the character, and it will make enemies run away.
That sounds like it's one of those things in the one of those glitches that they never thought about because it's so like why would you do that? How would that happen?
It's very interesting. I don't know if it works for inescapable fights, but like it's essentially one of those things you do for swag because you could just use the smoke bomb yourself.
Oh my god!
Ifrit.
I am going to find everything that I need.
It's
For a dragon.
It's been a very quick seed, except for the dragons. There is the dragon hunt. And this is interesting because Ravlin and I had been kicking around flags for a bit, trying to find a way to make sure we didn't go super underestimate.
Well, dragons.
Yep, that will be the linchpin here is the dragon hunt.
You could get all three right here though too.
That's also true.
I could. I hope not because I want to keep playing. Get out of my way, kid.
It would definitely be unfortunate to be an hour and a half underestimate as well. Here we're going into Magitech facility. I do guess Ravlin is planning on looting it. Not something I would do at this stage of the game.
I'm still looking for a few things. Like an offering.
If you are going for a item hunt, it is worth it to pick up treasures on the way. I will agree with that, yeah. But there are 3 checks here and 4 bosses. You have, of course, the Ifrit and Shiva fight. Then you have the Magimaster Light fight. And then you have the Magitech 3. Oh, the hidden areas.
Truth be told, I don't actually know where all the hidden areas here are. I never did them as a kid. The speedruns don't do it, so I've never seen them done.
There's only a couple. They're very much out of the way, and I only grab them if this is my first area check, and I'm still looting. It's not typically something that you would want to do. But here we have Atma Weapon, which this is actually Atma's cringe brother that hired a band to follow him around because he wishes he was a statue.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I never thought about it that way, but you're not wrong.
I mean, he looks cool enough. It's just his behavior is just not quite there. But he idolizes his brother and just wants to be just like him someday, and that's okay. There is a hidden chest on the way to Magimaster Light, if you know where that one is.
That one I do know.
Okay. But a lot of people tend to not do the final segment of... I already forgot where we are. Magitech facility is the word for it. Early morning brain don't like work. Unfortunate lack of XP for Terra. But there are 3 forced encounters, and then there's another boss for the escape, all for a single reward, which is why a lot of people don't like it. It takes some time, but considering this is a boss hunt, I would consider it worth it to try. It's 5 a.m. It is 7:46 for me. Typically I have like breakfast and coffee by this time, but I woke up basically on time to help with setup. And by that I mean sit here and let Ravlin adjust like streaming levels and volume.
So Ravlin just got his 10th Esper.
Which means that with the exception of dragons, he would be in go mode. There is a very high likelihood that in the process of hunting the dragons, he will get the requirements for statue skip. What that means is on a normal seed, when you enter Kefka's Tower, you enter on the standard locations. But if you get the secondary ones, as he's showing right now, you can start right at the statues.
It cuts off the Inferno fight, the little puzzle area, and then those 2 dragon spots and the Atma spot. But I almost never do the treasure or the dragon or the Atma spots there. So dragon,
the dragon spots in Kefka's Tower, not something I like to take, but I will every now and then. typically you'll want to fight dragons outside of Kefka Tower so all 4 people can get the experience from it. But if you're looking for a high tier loot or you can kill the dragons in less than a minute, it's usually, it can be worth it. Bestest Boy coming to help the fight. Tentacles is another one of those bosses that I don't like to see, though it can be shut down fairly easily with haste 2 or even haste. It is unable to pick up anybody that isn't slowed. So a good way for you vanilla players to shut down this fight, put on running shoes.
Hey, another desperation attack. Holy crap.
Yo. Whoa, that is a lot of damage. Terra is not having it. That is a Rama.
So at this point in the seed, I am starting to try to plan for the final Kefka fight, and there are certain things I'm looking for. I mean, generically good offense and defense, clearly. But in certain espers, I'm looking for generally either Golem or Fenrir for calmness protection. I would like a mute spell. I would like some form of instant death. And these are all things that would help in the final battle. So, you know, the fact that I'm still picking up espers is not the worst, but I don't, strictly speaking, need them. Yeah, you can have speed. That's fine.
Speed is pretty nice. As I had said before, levels help affect melee damage a whole lot more. This does include sword tech, so having him be slightly faster is a good bonus. And yes, as Franklin pointed out, cleave for instant death. It does work on both long arm and tools. And here we have a fight that I wouldn't be happy to take. Orogs can zombify your people, which at certain points in the seed can be a death sentence. But Ravlin gets through it just fine.
Someone just learned Imp. That means retort glitch strats are on the table.
If the flag is off.
Let me rephrase. I'm certainly going to try retort glitch strats.
I can actually check the flag set real quick. Unfortunately, the flag is on, so
darn.
Indefinite retort will not work. Yeah, this is a part of the game that a lot of people had issues with. I typically don't like to watch it if I can avoid it. I agree, Franklin. It's one of those flags that I feel should be on for like races, but for just typical play, default off is fine. And Ravlin discovering the natural reflect.
And then I just Phoenix down Shadow instead of actually Terra. Awesome.
Mistakes happen. It's the reason why every time you see me race, you see me buy 2 dried meat. I've used dried meat on myself enough to know I need an extra. And that was a hefty hit from Celeste. And this is one of those moments where you see Quadra Slice really shining. The fact that it ignores defense is extremely useful. And, of course, Valiant Knife Terra.
My kingdom for an offering.
Yeah, the only thing that we can do so far is maybe hit up, I personally despise this boss. It is my sister's least favorite boss. It's not that it's strictly hard to get through, it's just incredibly annoying. But as for the offering, the best we can wish for is maybe checking relic shops or hitting every monster in a box ever.
Ow. Rude.
Wow. That was counter. Aura Bolt is extremely useful here since Shatternook is weak against Pearl. Pearl, of course, being this game's version of Holy.
Oh.
Ooh, clean sweep.
Ooh, that could spell disaster here. Yeah. Good thing for that cute Phoenix.
That's probably not going to help me enough.
Nope. This looks like a wipe.
Ooh. Well then.
That's a big oof.
That was unexpected.
That was a spicy spell.
Let's see what I can do about that. Well, first I'm gonna be less greedy and actually just tent. Maybe if I have full HP going into some of these battles, it will go a little better.
The Orogs and stuff are also cleavable, I do believe. So, could utilize some more abilities and perhaps get through easier. It's also a good idea to switch around equipment here. Knowing that Chatternook uses water and bolt attacks, you can quite easily deal with some of the stuff he does.
Yeah, that's probably about it.
And we see Ravlin putting on Hero Ring and earrings. There had been some confusion in the past with some of the newer runners who believe that Hero Rings don't stack with anything. While that is true that the physical damage does not stack with Atlas Armlet or another Hero Ring, the magic damage will still stack with another Hero Ring or with the earrings. So that is actually a good move to increase the magic damage. Since Edgar has Blitz, a lot of the blitzes are actually magic based. Therefore, it is very useful for him to have that ability. Including Bum Rush, which is something they don't tell you in the game at all. So, you know, 7-year-old me was like putting vigor and strength into Sabin religiously and expecting Bum Rush to do extra damage. And while it still did incredible damage on its own right, it could have been so much better if I had known the mechanic.
If I remember where Duncan's house is and I get up to a high enough level, I will probably go get Bum Rush, which does come with a photosensitivity warning because it does flash for reasons.
I actually, Tracker Brain, do remember. It was the World of Ruin Narsh spot.
I thought so. I wasn't 100% sure, but that's where I was going to check and then explain away why I had gone someplace completely useless.
That sounds about right.
So for usual flag sets, you can get Bum Rush, but only after you learn every other blitz. There is a flag that you can toggle off, however, or on, one of the two, that makes it so you can get Bum Rush at any time. So at level 42, Ravlin will have Bum Rush available. And this fight does seem to be going a decent bit smoother, I said as soon as Terra died. But that's just a Valiant Knife setup. And there you can really see the power of the earrings coming into play there. That increased the damage by 1,000.
Oh, crap.
Oh. Well, she might just take a swipe and then switch back. That's something that can happen because the quick switch flag is on. And Shadow, of course, being awesome, just saying no to that attack.
There we go. That's a little better now.
Very well done. Not too long ago, I had actually learned that there's a story heal where when you go into the Cranes fight, it will heal you full. I've always gone to that save point and used a tent or sleeping bags to heal up, and then learned that I did not need to.
Let's see. Anything good? It's a Kappa. It's another Magicite. It is still not one of the ones that I want. Oh, and it's spicy chicken time.
Oh boy. We've got just the emote for this. So Poltergeist is another one of those interesting bosses where he is actually weak against poison, but however, due to the power level of poison magic compared to Ice 3, you're still better off using Ice 3 or Bolt 3 against him. But if you don't have a tier 3 spell, Bio is the way to go. He is also one of the few bosses that is stoppable, which is it's one of the strategies that a lot of runners tend to use.
Hey, wait. I have that spell.
That you can also, excuse me, you can also put reflect rings or wall rings on your party to prevent him from using the blaster attack, because he will only use blaster on stopped enemies. There's also a thing where you can put a safety bit or a memento ring on a character, allow them to be stopped, and then he'll go into an infinite AI loop of trying to instant kill that person. Very exploitable boss, can be very scary, but if you have the right abilities, it's not too much of a problem. Just high defense, high magic defense is the issue. And Ravlin got through pretty handily.
Hey, I learned bio. That would actually be really useful for this fight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if you find poltergeist, you could totally make use of that indeed. But you're not too much of a masochist. Boss battles are only shuffled and not randomized. So, unlike me, you won't run into Goddess 4 times in a seed.
So, another one of my favorite things about this randomizer in particular is that it is a very, very customizable experience. You can choose how you want your seed to be, and that includes things like, do you want your bosses shuffled around, or do you want them randomized, where you could encounter Magimaster 5 times? You know, do you want a very high power level seed where you're just sort of, rampaging through, or do you want a big challenge? So these things are there for you. You'll also notice that the timer is off for this event. That was a flag that I lobbied pretty hard for to remove the timers.
There is a very real possibility of being brick-walled through these random encounters. However, they are smoke bombable. Nobody wants to come through the Opera House and use fire magic on fire-absorbing monsters, but also see level 90 magics. That is something that you don't want. With the timer,
I've run into a ton of those.
With the timer off, it does give you a lot of leeway.
The other thing that you can do into these fixed encounter locations or into random encounter locations is put in a certain percentage of boss battles. You just might have a place where, your random encounters are, hiding in the Hide Nights.
It
Yes.
brings me to mind of the first time I ran Moogle's First Seed Part 2.
I am so sorry for that.
Yeah,
I can tell you, just be careful with that setting, because I randomized Siegfried in the burning house, and Siegfried was every fight. And it went through the RP every time.
that's just hilarious. I will tell my horror story though. I put that flag on at a 20%. I accidentally saved over my spot in Magitech 3, which is the cart ride, and every encounter was Tritalk.
That's good too.
Yeah, it was not a fun experience because I had no fire magic. I was relying on GP Rain and Pummel, I believe, is what got me through.
But yes, as you can imagine, if there was still a timer here, something like a Siegfried battle or, I don't know, a Tritalk battle, even if you have, everything you need to get through those, could just eat through the time in a way that you would be unable to complete the check.
Yep. As Lily puts in chat, Piranha is another one of those fights that can eat through the timer. Here's hoping for a dragon. And it's Narapa. The easiest one of the easiest boss in the game, since this one is instant deathable.
Ravlin's gonna make quick work of Narapa.
Narapa does also have natural reflex, so you wouldn't be able to cast Doom on them. But, you could also just punch them to death. But, you wouldn't be able to cast Doom on them, but you would be able to cast, X-Zone or use Cleave, as Ravlin was about to do. Katana Soul being half the fixed encounters. There was a casual race my sister and I did where we saw 2 Katana Souls in the Serpent's Trench.
So again, I am looking for bosses, so I'm going to go to the Floating Continent. Floating Continent is one of my least favorite checks to do. It's obnoxious. And it's long.
And I'm on the other side of that because I like Floating Continent.
You also have Searching the Skies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at this point, I am looking for encounters that I know where they are. I know where they are. I can find them. Just so that I'm not constantly going, ooh, what's behind this door? What's behind this door?
Shim Sham, another fractional attack, will only do half your damage. Unless I believe you're at 1 hit point, then it will actually kill you.
Finally, an enemy that makes sense of why it's in the sky.
The randomizer does definitely provide some fantastic experiences of like, why is there a squid swimming through a stone floor? This is distressing. But also just a reminder to people who are watching, we are here raising money for the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund. So go ahead and get those donations out there. At the end of the seed, I will be putting in a donation from myself and from the Worlds Collide community Twitch channel in general. I'm good at multitasking, but I'm not that good.
There will also be a donation from me. I set a criteria for myself that I didn't want to say out loud, just in case. But there's already enough reason for me to donate what little I can. But for fear of Ravlin starting... Yo, Dirt Dragon is not the one you want to see, but it's a dragon.
Already with Wake.
But for fear of Ravlin maybe squeezing some money on me, I had said that I was going to donate $2 for every wipe. So far it's $4. I can't do a lot, but every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Please, dragon, die. Thank you before you do something else awful to me.
So Ravlin made quick work of the Dirt Dragon. Typically, you'd want to, bring your party up by casting Float. However, the dragon still can pull you down. You kind of want some Gaia gear.
And this is the hardest fight in the game.
Absolutely. Soldier, or the leader, he's the leader of the game.
Yep. That's why the name is there. He's actually Kefka's boss.
He is the boss who is most impacted by Normalize and Distort, I believe. I remember playing with this flag the first time, and Leader comes in and axes one of my characters for over 7k of damage. I was like, oh god.
He is extremely scary on Normalized Distort. It does look like it's his hit points that are distorted this time, however. Because typically he doesn't last this long. And there he goes.
But not without a final attack of Axe.
And
Murder Child.
Yep, there we have our murdered child. So if we can remember where Jador was, which I unfortunately do not.
So I just want to point out here, she has base 53 magic power. Terra has 64, and that's only because I left an Esper on her for a long time. She's so powerful.
Realm is incredibly good and a staple in just about any team. Even Dance scales off of magic power, so even that is a useful ability on her.
So Ravlin is checking these monsters in boxes because he's still going for an offering.
Yes.
However, getting the worst encounter, the Lobo. Nothing to gain from this.
On high scaling normalized distort, I've actually had a Lobo do max damage on me. They're not they're not typically scary, but occasionally, depending on the flag set, they can be rough.
My favorite part about Normalize and Distort is on Tier 3 of Kefka, where Girl can suddenly have 27,000 HP.
Yeah, that definitely turns Tier 3 into a slog. And also the strategy of counting damage throughout the boss, it's basically irrelevant on Normalized Distort. Such as last night, I was fighting Final Kefka, got him down to, I want to say, just over 10,000 hit points, and then waited for a Goner phase so that I could avoid the ultimate counters. Which is something that my sister did not do. She just decided to tank through it, which I thought was hilarious. But seeing as we already have an established party with good equipment, good stats, and good levels, Murder Child is probably not going to see a place on the team. Which is understandably, you already have great abilities and no real reason to try and bring Realm up to snuff.
Hey, look, it's Niles and Frazier.
The two Crane brothers.
That's very funny.
I always forget which side is weak against which. Last night I rolled the dice and I got it right. The left side is weak against fire. The right side is weak against bolt.
I think
Both
they're
sides weak to Valiant Knives.
everyone's
Yes.
weak to being shanked. Which
Yes.
is what's going. Oh, Celis is about to have her ice reflected back into her face.
Ice is also a good spell to use against them until Tech Barrier comes up, which happens when one of them dies. You can also use lures like Clean Sweep or Aqua Breath to hit them pretty hard, because I do believe they're both weak against water. That is a Tritok Esper. And now we're going to do the escape portion of Floating Continent, which has a few fixed encounters and a boss at the end. Hopefully nothing too nasty in the encounters. I wouldn't want to see like level whatever magics. First class is, excuse me, isn't too bad.
It took me a very long time to realize that those sprites, the little dudes in it, are wearing goggles. I don't know what I thought it was before, but it wasn't goggles.
Gloom shells are actually a monster I forgot existed since I've been running the randomizer so long. I have not seen them in a very long time.
They're a decent fight.
It's like when I was taking a grind and I saw Prometheus, I had actually forgotten that Tunnel Armor has a bigger sibling that likes to beat people up.
It's a Durgan.
Yo. So Floating Continent was definitely the play. That's 2 of the 4 dragons. Or 3, rather. Unless you find a 4th one.
Kindly don't freeze my entire party.
So good thing to know, if you cast fire on frozen allies, they will thaw pretty quickly.
Unless you have a wall ring on.
Which, we got a frozen ninja, and he's gonna stay that way.
He's just going to chill over there and let the rest of the party take care of it, as Terra quickly does. Very much showing off the power of the Valiant Knife and why it's the best weapon in the game. Well, other than Illumina.
Yeah, Illumina wins because it's also the best defensive item in the game.
It is your weapon. It is your shield. It is your armor.
Oh, ha ha ha.
Golem.
That's how you...
Go ahead.
No, go.
Golem being a wonderful Esper to find here. That is calmness protection and hit points 100%, giving a hefty boost to Terra, which will only increase her damage.
God, I haven't looked at half of these.
So Golem would be perfect to get right around here, as we're nearing somewhat of the end of the seed. I believe we have 2 more dragons. Well, we don't really need to find any dragons, really. I guess maybe the dragons might be Kefka's tower.
They could be, but I won't know that until I get there and try to jump in and beat up those dragons.
Yep.
Right.
Those 2 are also randomized in a Dragon Hut seed. But we could do 1 dragon and do Kefka's tower, or try and go for the 2nd dragon to skip up to the statue area.
I find it funny that the wrong character is about to be taught.
Yep. So once again, advance warning for photosensitivity and flashing. I apologize. Bum rush is gonna be a thing.
Yep. This is going to be a segment with a lot of flashes, and then every time Bum Rush is used, there will be flashes.
That is another flag that we are lobbying to have, is a turn off the flash flag, which would also turn off the effect if you are poisoned. I know that it is in development and being worked on.
Please, poison is awful. Every time I buy a bunch of antidotes, it's not hard to deal with the actual effect, but walking around on the overworld, if you don't have a way to cure it, is terrible. It is actual torture. And that is... Yep, this is our war mech. Just flying around at the speed of sound.
It's like you're playing Armored Core.
So, Bolt definitely comes in handy here. Bum Rush, of course, doing incredible damage on a high magic earringed Edgar. And there's our Valiant Knife doing work.
You know, because tanks can get shanked, too.
They've got a weak spot somewhere. I can just imagine Terra taking the Valiant Knife and using it as a screwdriver, or prying off those bolts to try and get into the circuitry.
Absolutely.
And Guardian is down. So is Terra, though.
Offering? Huh? Huh?
It is an item.
It's another knife.
Gotta love that. Wonder if you found anybody else that can use it. It wouldn't actually matter.
You're gonna get so many Valiant Knives, you're gonna start throwing them.
Okay. Thinking. Where can I go? Oh, I know where I can go.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Do the ancient castle.
I do not believe this is in the entrance randomizer pool.
it is not, again, because it is sort of an event space. One thing to note that I did learn is that you can leave the castle while it is underground.
Yep.
It disappears. I don't know if you can ever get back in it.
I don't recall if you're able to get back through to it through the cave or not. It's not something I've tried, but I have locked myself out of it on accident.
So, YNPC Remove was originally started as one of a series of YNPC flags as an April Fool's joke. Stability is not guaranteed.
Instability is.
But hilarity is also guaranteed.
And thank you, Franklin, in chat, confirming that you can indeed get back into the castle through the cave.
Ah, nice.
Very good knowledge. Unless you buried it going to Collingen. Yeah, that...
You got enough ribbons to seed.
Now that just leads me to an interesting question. If it's buried going to Collingen, and you YNPC the door, do you appear in the Collingen Desert or the South Figaro Desert?
The South Figaro Desert. It's a dragon.
Awesome. So that would put us into go mode. Going to the South Figaro Desert, if you are done with that castle, just walk out the door. Save some time. And Gold Dragon down. Easiest dragon in the game. Except maybe the Ice Dragon. And got a nice shield for the efforts.
So I am going to go down into the ancient castle. I am going to check because, if I remember correctly, if I find one more dragon while I'm down there, I can skip a bunch of Kefka's Tower, and it has a monster. There are 2 monster in boxes on the way, so maybe I can get my offering off of Katana Soul. And I've got an hour on my estimate, so, I don't mind spending a little extra time here.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, Skull Dragon, I do agree, Franklin. Very easy, especially if you have fire damage or pearl damage, such as Excalibur's or Illumina's, because casting pearl is too slow.
Or you cast Ragnarok on a dragon.
Oh, yeah, that does have a chance to turn it into something.
Mm-hmm.
And that is YNPC... Oh, no, that wasn't YNPC removed.
That was YNPC removing that door. We are underground right now.
I thought so, but I didn't know if my brain was tricking me. Go-Go is an interesting character. A lot of people, I would say, sleep on him. Mimic strats are incredibly good. You can mimic espers, you can mimic items. When you do mimic an item, it's incredibly free. It's wonderful. However, if you're in a position like Ravlin is now, I personally wouldn't put Go-Go in my party. I would definitely utilize the mimic on up the tower, but as for the final 4, he would not see a place.
Now, I do always, hope to have a couple of extra characters, going into the finals, just because no matter how prepared you are, Final Kefka can sometimes just decide, no, this is going to go poorly for you.
Yes. Final Kefka can be extremely rude, especially on normalized distort. I also wanted to point out Ravlin fully utilizing... If you have Edgar in the lead of your party, you will get half price at those shops. That will also work at the World of Ruin South Figaro shops. However, not the World of Balance shops. So unfortunate, but no Katana Soul from that box. There's another monster in a box coming up, though. That's a sniper.
Again, snipers are probably the best shop, like vanilla shop buyably item in the game. That came out super awkwardly. The best weapon that you can buy in a shop in vanilla Final Fantasy VI.
Very useful. Has a, I want to say, 50% chance to do 1.5 times damage. And if it is a flying monster, and here we have a unrandomized Katana Soul. But if it's a flying monster, that 1.5 times instead changes to 3 times. It's one of the few weapons that is worth using with a offering, which Ravlin is about to get. Because the bonus damage is definitely worth having the half damage from the offering ability.
Ooh.
What a hit.
One of the reasons that Valiant Knives are so good is that the HP that you're missing is directly added to the damage. So the offerings reduction happens before that.
Yep. So Valiant Knife does have a base level of attack which is affected by the offering, but the bonus damage is not. So you can 4-swing, or in this case 8-swing a Valiant Knife for essentially full damage.
Yeah, Valiant Knife's base attack, no one really cares.
That mithril vest is a little concerning, though.
With the damage there and some of the survivability options, the mithril vest isn't great, but it's not something I'd be terribly scared of. But I'm also kind of nutty when it comes to what I do.
You can't equip that Mirage vest to Terra, can you?
No, but I can equip this Minerva I just picked up.
Oh, there you go.
Best gear in the game. And it's the Ghost Train. Ravlin knows what to do.
Just cleave train.
Oh my god, that was a 4,000 damage.
That was a very nice suplex.
And this is why this combo is OP.
Terra is now officially a blender.
Also, the seed is officially validated.
All right, so I did not find my final dragon here. If I had anything like super easy that I knew exactly where to go to try to find a boss, I would go do that. But I don't think so. So I think I'm going to head into Kefka's Tower. But in the interest of just trying to, hit those requirements, I'm gonna check out the Toilet Atma and the 2 dragon spots. See if I can find that 4th dragon. Just for funsies.
Yep. Entering Kefka's Tower an hour under our estimate. There is still a boss gauntlet to go through, and then the fight itself can take, well, with your damage, probably 10 to 15 minutes. Still, it's not terrible overall. You definitely have some wiggle room.
Yep. And we have left the castle buried under the sand, forever irretrievable.
They will be safe from the Ray of Judgment, so honestly, you're just doing them a service. Yeah, World of Ruin Opera House is on the table. It was vanilla after all.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm already here.
So this is always an interesting mind puzzle. Sorting out who should go where. Most runners, for obvious gotta go fast reasons, typically keep the same party through the entire seed. So you have to divvy up your strengths and weaknesses to try and make it through. But you never know what bosses you're going to find. You could send a party with only fire magic down a path and find Flame Eater, or only ice magic down a path and find Tritok. Which we haven't found Flame Eater, Magimaster, Tritok, or any of those. Flame Eater being the easiest of those bosses to find, or to fight, rather.
You're gonna ooh, I can have a second possess. That's fun.
Yes. Go-Go is a possess me.
Oh, that's what happened when I got rid of Locke. I got rid of trying to uncurse the shield. Oh well.
When we got the shield, I had said it's not something I would attempt to do, and it totally slipped my mind as well.
You can tell clearly that Paladin shield was very important to my entire strategy.
It is. Can Paladin shield give you Ultima if you have the no Ultima flag on?
It will not.
No. It will
Yeah.
not.
But regardless, it is a very good elemental absorbing item, extremely good for defense, super useful shield regardless.
You become a paladin.
Yes. Which is arguably the best tank in Final Fantasy XIV.
I would agree with that assessment as a Paladin main.
Nice. I have everything except for Warrior leveled up, and Paladin has been my favorite tank. That is a Genji shield, another somewhat useful shield. Not quite as good, in my opinion, as any of the elemental shields or an Aegis shield even, but I would rather have it on than a force shield.
Oh, I'd rather have a force shield on.
The elemental defense from a force shield, having all of it, is very useful. I suppose it depends on what gear I have.
Yeah, it depends on how much unlock you have.
Because sometimes you'll burn through Kefka's tower and then 10 hit does over 1,000 a hit and nearly wipes you. Another cool thing about Offering is that it supersedes Love Token. So Terra will still be able to fight here, even with Love Token Honor. But Setzer is essentially useless. And there goes a goddess.
Hey, Setzer survived the fight. He successfully participated.
That's true. Considering he has 220 hit points, that is a feat on its own. And there's another Excalibur. Wonderful for throwing at this point in the seed.
Once again, throw was ability not appearing in this seed.
It's because we found all those amazing throwables. Every time you see every single shop having every throwable you could ever need, just stop expecting to see throw.
Oh.
This is coffee break fight. This is when I set down the controller and I prop something on my A button so that I can go and get a drink. There is a strategy where you can just wait out the timer, which I believe on these this version is 5 to 55.
Something like that. But also, on Normalize and Distort, these guys hit hard.
They can, yes.
Good thing no timer doesn't affect this fight.
Oh my god, that would be evil. You would just soft lock into the fight.
Good counter to that is with no timer on, Rizzopath just shows up. But then everybody would want the flag on. And
I'm not seeing a downside to this.
here we have our final piranha.
And there we have Sushi.
She trained her whole life in how to properly slice up sashimi. And that's a Ragnarok. One of the better weapons in the game, and Shadow can equip it. That's pretty good. Ragnarok I enjoy a lot. It's Illumina Light. I don't care for the proc. Despite it being non-elemental, it still takes a very long time for Flare to go through. And at this point, you're not really going to be relying on Flare procs.
No, but in certain cases, it's better than Pearl healing the boss.
I definitely agree. When it comes to fighting Girl, you definitely don't want to see a Pearl proc.
Oh, that's right. I promised to do Toilet Atma.
Well, Atma literally is just, speaking of Flame Eater, Atma was literally just chilling, trying to use the bathroom, and you interrupt that. It's no wonder you get so aggressive.
This is kind of an unfortunate fight because Edgar doesn't really have a good way to not target everything.
My strategy when it comes to this is use, well, you got the one you needed, is use, I can't remember the full name of it. I use it so little. The air move.
Airblade.
Airblade. Use Airblade, and that kills all the balloons, and then you can single target to your leisure.
So you can see
break a ice shield with the Murder Child.
Even an under-leveled realm, like an underlevel, underpowered realm, is still doing phenomenal damage, breaking a shield.
Skipping the chests in Kefka's Tower, one of my things is if you're looting in Kefka's Tower, you're probably not ready for Kefka's Tower. Which is unfortunate, but I would rather be on my way up and looting chests than, going around hoping for an item that you may never find.
I am, of course, now very curious where this last dragon could possibly be. I wonder if it's going to be one of the statues.
That would be very funny to me. And, if one of the statues is a Fumbaba, that would be a bit of poetic justice. But to be fair, Fumbaba 3... Oh, wait, it can't be because you already killed... No, it would have to be.
We already saw the one that, hey, it's a dragon.
Nice. So now if you wanted to, you could warp back and go in and just be there. After you've already did half the tower.
That's actually way more tempting than you might think. Oh.
I think it's actually faster to do that.
Yeah, I would say likely.
Let's see if I can actually input the bum rush command, please. That would be great.
Are you using? Are you actually doing the full rotation, or are you doing the easy way?
I do it the easy way. I'm playing on a PS4 controller. I don't think this has good diagonal inputs.
I gotcha. The easy way is the best way too. Saves your thumb.
So what they are talking about, for anybody that doesn't actually know, you can actually double input for the blitz. So let's say Aurabolt is down, corner, over. You can actually hit down, down, over to do that. It's more reliable, and yeah, it saves your thumb.
So we're going to check the tracker, make sure I'm good before I commit to warping out here.
It's always good to be safe.
I just hit entrance. I'm not used to the skip in the menu.
I believe my sister goes for it every single time, but I have yet to actually do the skip.
Now we're gonna show you how warp stones work again, and that's how easy it is.
One of the better items in the game is Warp Stone. You always want to have 5 or 6 on your person.
One of the things that is challenging to remember when you're doing the statue skip is I usually stack my far right party with my most powerful people and then have them go through the Inferno and then the middle track here where they have the double boss. However, when you go to your statue skip, it's just the middle party that is in the middle, which makes perfect sense. For some reason, it's just hard for me to remember.
Yeah, that's my typical strategy, too, is my far right has my strongest group. I do tend to do Kefka's Tower a little bit differently than most people. I like to do 3, 2, then 1. I do see some people doing the second party, then the third, then the first. And then, as Ravlin did, the first then goes through the other 2 as far as he can. The reason why I do it the way I do is because it's got an overall better feel and flow when you get to the weights. I can just push one, go to the next party, and it's all ready to push the other. It flows extremely well.
Alright, Dadaluma taken out of the mix.
Thank you for that headband. I will be sure to wear it against Final Kefka.
It does increase vigor. Dadaluma is one of those fights that's typically not very scary. He does have a script where if you fight him, I want to say 4 times, he'll throw something at you. Or if you cast magic twice, I believe that triggers a jump. But overall, not scary. And here we have Magimaster Light. Number 024, the larval form of Magimaster. Very easy, very simple fight.
One thing you do need to be careful of is anytime you are facing a boss that has the possibility of confusing you, that can absolutely wreck your day.
Oh, yes.
Most recently, I had a Super Ball queued up, and then I got confused and wiped my entire party.
Ooh, that's a big ouch. Yeah, that is actually one of those things that I typically forget when it comes to 024. He doesn't always last long enough to get any confusion off. This is one of those unfortunate fights where the offering is not exactly optimal. After the Soul Savers are dead, it will default target Rexol, but until then, you'll miss a few swings. Same thing with Quadra Slice. Another little tidbit, I've always seen Rexol as undead, and vanilla me, like 7-year-old me, used to cast Pearl on him, and I would always forget that he absorbs Pearl.
Oh no. So this is one of the quality of life adjustments for the randomizer. So we have removed the final Ultima counter from Magimaster, and we've made it so that Rexol does not use Zinger, so you do not have to kill off your party members and revive them, because both of those could lead to unwinnable situations. But if you wish to have that particular challenge in your seed, you can turn those flags off and, have Rexol use Zinger and Magimaster use Ultima to your heart's content.
A good trick for Zinger, you can also break a party member and just soft them, and that'll get him to unpossess as well. And if he possesses one of the little souls, you can just X-zone him.
Remember how I said I'm very distressed by the fact that there's an octopus swimming through a metal and or stone floor?
Ultros knows no bounds.
We have also turned off the ability to stumble during dancing, so that you can, just use the dances. And
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we have randomized the abilities that are on the dances, which is why Elfire is not an Earth Blues thing.
When you get a dance that has, let's say, Wump, Cockatrice, and Earthslide, or Landslide, that's the dance you want to use forever.
All right, so we are going to have about a 226 entry into the final Kefka battle. I predict this one will take about 10 minutes, just for organizational purposes.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember where Golem is equipped?
Terra.
Nice.
Because I figure if I lose Terra at some point, it's already gone poorly enough that, losing Golem 2 doesn't even matter.
Yeah, with your damage and a good bit of your items and survivability, this shouldn't be too hard of a fight. The only issue that I could think of is Normalized Distort would make it so counting the hit points would be rough.
You assume that I count the hit points to begin with.
It's actually a strategy I only recently adopted. Typically, I just kind of bulldoze my way through it.
Interestingly enough, there is not an automatic heal before the final battle of the game.
Adds to the tension. So here, Ravlin opened with a cleave, which kills Long Arm. Then he's bum rushing, which is great damage, but also throwing some fire at the face. So when the face dies, if it's the last one alive, it'll counter with a quake. When the long arm dies, it'll counter with a shockwave. And if they both die at the same time, or everything dies at the same time, they'll both counter. It's very rough. So you want to throw some extra damage on the face to get it out of the way before the little arm dies. And Edgar's not having it. He wants to see the quake.
I got very lucky that the face died first.
I don't actually have the audio on, so I couldn't hear it.
Understandable, even though this is some of the best music in video gaming history. I will not be taking questions on this topic.
Oh no, actually it's my favorite boss theme of all time. But I can't handle hearing my own voice half the time, so hearing it through the stream is an issue for me.
Understandable. Do I have mute? Apparently not.
Yeah, mute is actually a good spell to throw on magic in the back. Kind of trivializes that. Another thing I like to do is power is vulnerable to stop, so you can actually get him not doing anything for essentially the entire fight. But when he dies, he counters with 10 hit, and stop will end on death before the counter, so that will go through. Same thing with magic's final counter. Mute will end on death before the counter triggers, so he'll still use Dispel and Quarter. But as for priority for killing, if you don't have an instant death, you're going to want to start with Tiger. If you do, use the instant death on tools and then go to Tiger. Tiger can zombify your people and use his Southern Cross, which is pretty damaging, though it is a fire-based attack, so if you have good elemental defense, it's not important. And it does look like Tiger is dead.
I'm a little concerned about... So, despite all of my stuff, I have very little healing. Which is why I early cast Golem. One of the other things we can have here is the ability to multicast Espers. Espers are already fairly weak. We felt it was a little silly that you could only cast them once per battle, so it is an option that I have turned on here for several reasons, one of them being this.
If you get a normalized distort power and you get that 10 hits, he can easily do 1,000 to 2,000 damage a punch, depending on your gear. Not very fun. Even without the multi-summon flag on, if I have both Fenrir and Golem, I will use one to block 10 hits, and then use the other one to block Calmness. And here we're going to see some flare action, which is a good non-elemental spell to nuke down girl there.
Target girl. Ha! Victory.
And that's good news.
But that is also still not a dead girl.
Which means that she probably got the hit points on normalized distort, because vanilla she only has 9999 hit points.
I hope that was the sound of her dying. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. If Rest dies before Girl dies, Girl will full heal him. And I do believe he still uses Calmness.
Uh-huh.
So it's tricky.
And Golem is still available. Thank goodness. So we are going into the final Kefka fight. I am going to, for the memes, try to get the possess kill with Celis. No promises.
It does have a chance to not work, so who knows?
So time will be either when the screen flashes and Kefka starts disintegrating, or when he disappears to possess.
With the sheer amount of damage, especially coming from Terra, there is a chance that if Possess fails, like, he could die before it goes off.
And here we got Fallen One.
Here comes Fallen
There we
One
go,
with-
and time. Because possess is silly.
Possess is very silly. I was going to point out that Fallen One is a very good opportunity to use a Valiant Knife user. Drops you down to 1 hit point, and it can really devastate a fight, especially with an offering. But GG's, Ravlin. Wonderful
GG's.
run.
Awesome.
And honestly, my favorite credit sequence in any Final Fantasy ever is about to happen.
I'm going to let that play for just a moment while I go ahead and put in my donation. But I do want to once again thank the Gamegoyles for inviting us along and allowing me to not only, show off this randomizer, but show off this very silly mod that is quite enjoyable to me. Makes it just lots of fun.
And how many wipes was that? 4, I want to say.
I believe so.
I'm gonna up it to $10 anyway.
Is that one? And is there a way on the Tiltify to donate through PayPal?
I believe if you make an account with it, but I actually have donated to multiple charities before, so I've got everything on file.
Very nice. Well, so once again, thank you everyone so much. I truly appreciate it. And I am going to get out of here and let the next run, the setup happen. And have a great day, y'all.
GG's, Ravlin. Good run.